Alright, now we'll be going over the kidney. So on the kidney, the first terms you have to know are going to be your cortex and your medulla. The cortex is just going to be the outside of the kidney, so around the outside here. Cortex literally just means outside. And then the medulla is going to be the inside, so everything on the inside is going to be that medulla. The next term is your renal sinus. And you can remember these because these are filled with adipose. So your renal sinuses are going to be in the middle here, and they're going to be in between all of those minor calyxes where there's adipose. So there's going to be here and here. And it's not depicted on this model very well, but you can definitely see it on the cadaver one, so we'll show it to you in lab. Renal pelvis is going to be this region right here, where all of your major calyxes dump into. So don't mistake it for the major calyxes. Right here is the renal pelvis. Renal papilla is going to be the tip of that nephron right here, or of that renal pyramid. So your renal papilla is right there, that tip. If I go over here, this is a renal papilla on the tip of that pyramid right here. The calyces are next. Go back over to this one. The minor calyx is going to be right off of that renal papilla where the urine dumps right here. So that's a minor calyx. And then where multiple minor calyces come together, like down here there's one minor and another minor, they dump into a major calyx right here. The renal pyramids are these structures that look like pyramids. So this is a renal pyramid, this is a renal pyramid, this is a renal pyramid. All those are renal pyramids. The columns are going to be between those pyramids. So you can see how there's a column right here, and those will be between all of them. So there's a column here, there's a column down here. Renal arteries and veins are just going to come in through that hilus. So the red is going to be the artery because it's oxygenated blood right here. Go through there. And then the vein, if you can see it back there, is blue right behind that artery. The glomerulus is going to be the white dots on here. So each one of these is a glomerulus. If we go over to this one, we can see that this is a glomerulus as well, just blown up a little bit. And then the peritubular arteries are going to be the arteries within that glomerulus. So you can see right here, these arteries within here, those are your peritubular arteries. And if we move over to this one, you can see them a lot better in here. And then the last one you have to know, we're going to go way back over to the left, is called your ureter. And that is where the last place urine is going to leave that kidney, right there. Next we'll be going over the nephron, which is the functional unit of the kidney. The first term you have to know is that called that renal corpuscle. And the renal corpuscle is going to be the shell right here, so the white. That's your corpuscle. You can see it over here again. Those are your corpuscles. And then within that, you're going to have your glomerulus, which is that artery system right here, where you synthesize urine. If we move back over here, we have convoluted tubules, and the convoluted tubules that come off of that corpuscle are going to be your proximal convoluted tubules. So that's right here where that pointer's going. And then next, we will go to the loop of Henle, and we will have the descending loop of Henle, so that goes down. And then you make your loop, and then you come back up the ascending loop of Henle, all the way up there, which will lead us to that distal convoluted tubule right here. You can see how it convolutes. And that will dump into your collecting duct, which is this long structure going all the way down that renal pyramid, all the way down.
Alright, we're going to go over your urinary bladder here. You can see this structure is your urinary bladder, the whole thing. You You can see coming out of it here, right here, is going to be your ureter. That comes off of the kidney and brings that urine down from the kidney. So then we're going to open this up. Okay, so now we're looking at the inside of your urinary bladder. First structure we need to know is those ureters. We already saw that. And right there is going to be the entrance where the ureter enters that urinary bladder. Okay. Then we're going to have your urethra. Your urethra is this whole tract right here. Okay. So it's that whole tract where the urine runs after it leaves the urinary bladder until it leaves the body. So that's your urethra. Okay. Then we're going to have our detrusor muscle. Our detrusor muscle is this muscle here. It runs all the way around that urinary bladder. And that's what's going to help you excrete the urine. We're going to have our rugae. Your rugae are all the little ridges in here that you see. So rugae. Then you're going to have your trigone. Your trigone is going to be hard to see here. You can see it's right here, this lighter white structure. It's your trigone. It's a smooth muscle, and if I were to connect the other side of the urinary bladder on there, it would make a triangle. So you can see how this half of it is half of a triangle. So I put the other one half on there, it would make a full triangle and it would make more sense. But what that trigone does is it helps funnel the urine from the ureter down to the urethra. Okay, next we're going to have our internal and our external urethral sphincters. So your internal urethral sphincter can be seen right here. It's the two muscles surrounding that urethra. And so what that can do is it can either open or close, and that'll help control when you use the restroom. So the internal urethral sphincter is smooth muscle, so you don't actually have voluntary control over that. But if we go down here, we can see here and here is your external urethral sphincter, and over that one you do have voluntary control. So down here we have your external urethral sphincter, just controlling when that urine's leaving the body. Alright, we're going to be going over your mammary gland here. Here we have your nipple, and around it is the areola. Okay, so if we open this up, first structure we're going to have is the lobes of the mammary gland. And those are going to be each of these little purple structures. They kind of look like grapes on a vine. So those are the lobes of the mammary glands. Then you're going to have the lactiferous ducts. And the lactiferous ducts are what the milk flows into from the lobes of the mammary glands. So these little dark blue structures leading out to the nipple. Okay, it's right there as well. The little dark blue tubes where the milk's flowing through is the lactiferous ducts. Next structure we're going to have is the pectoral fat pad. And just all this fat in here, it's all going to be pectoral fat pad. Okay. And then the final structure we're going to have is going to be the suspensory ligaments. And the suspensory ligaments are shown by all the white on this model. So you could follow this one running back there. And they run all the way through this mammary gland, and they provide support to all the structures of the mammary gland. So those are suspensory ligaments. Alright, we're going to take a look at your male reproductive system here. First structure we got is the scrotum. The scrotum is the outside covering of skin around the testicles. And then we're going to have your testes. It's going to be a structure down here. The ball-like structure. Alright, and then we're going to have the tunica vaginalis. We're going to go over to this one. So taking a look at this one, tunica vaginalis is this white structure. It's going to be all this here, as well as lining the outside of that scrotal cavity. Okay? That's tunica vaginalis. Your tunica vaginalis sits over top of your tunica albuginea. So you cannot see the tunica albuginea on this model because it's all covered by tunica vaginalis. Okay. Next we're going to have the epididymis. Epididymis is going to be this structure here on the top part of the testy. So this whole structure. Okay. Then we're going to have your spermatic cord. And your spermatic cord is made up of 3 different things. It's made up of your vas deferens, which exits out of the tail of the epididymis and is going to carry sperm up to the penis. So here's your vas deferens. You can see it's the tan colored structure here. Then we're going to have your testicular artery, and that's going to be all the red here. The testes are very highly, they have a lot of blood flow, so very well vasculated. And then we're going to have the pampiniform plexus. That's going to be all the blue, so it's basically the testicular veins. Okay, so again, you can see a lot of those. So one more time, what makes up the spermatic cord is the ductus deferens or vas deferens, same thing, the testicular artery, and the testicular vein or pampiniform plexus. So together, those 3 things make up your spermatic cord, which is this whole structure. Okay, your spermatic cord exits or comes down through the inguinal canal. So you can see this would be the entrance to the inguinal canal. We're going to have your cremaster muscle. For that, we're going to jump over to this other one again. So your cremaster muscle is all this red here, and it wraps all the way around your testes. And so what that can do is it can draw the testes up closer to the body when necessary. Okay, so that's a cremaster muscle. Also, on this model, you can see the cremaster muscle is slightly outlined in the red right there. Okay. Next structure, you have to flip back again. Next structure we have is your seminal vesicles. Your seminal vesicles are these back here. And so the spermatic cord will lead up into the seminal vesicles, and some more fluids will get added into that sperm and before it's sent out of the body. Okay. So after the seminal vesicles, we're going to have your ejaculatory duct, which you can see right there, leading into that urethra. Just that little piece right here. Okay, next we're going to have the prostate gland. Your prostate gland is this purple structure here. And that sends prostatic fluid in there into the mix before the semen gets sent out of the body. Next we'll have your bulbal urethral gland. That's right there. And that's going to excrete fluid that's going to help lubricate the penis as well as neutralize some of the acid. Next, we're going to have the 3 sections of your urethra. So if you remember in a previous video we showed that the urethra is this whole tract coming up all the way. So there's 3 regions of it that you need to know. You need to know the prostatic urethra, which runs roughly from here to here. So just when it's going through that prostate. So that's prostatic urethra. Next we're going to have your membranous urethra, which runs right about here in this area. And then we're going to have the penile urethra, which is the whole space where it's running through the penis. So it starts with the prostatic urethra and that prostate. Between the prostatic urethra and the penile urethra is the membranous urethra, and then the penile urethra. Next structure, we have the corpora cavernosa. That's going to be this whole structure here. So you're going to have 2 corpora cavernosa, and what they do is the corpora cavernosa will fill up with blood, and so when your penis is erect, it's going to look like this. So there's 3 structures. So these 2 fingers are going to be your corpora cavernosa, and then that bottom finger would be my corpus spongiosum. Okay? So those will fill up with blood, and that's how your penis will get erect. Okay, and then we're going to have the crura. The crura you can't see on here. It's the root. It's where the corpora cavernosa anchors in to the body. Can't see that on the model. Next we're going to have your corpus spongiosum. And remember I said that was the bottom finger. So that's this running down here. And you only have one of those. One corpus spongiosum. And we can see the bulb of the corpus spongiosum back here. That bulb area. Next we're going to have your bulbal spongiosus muscle right here. It'll help with ejaculation. Next structure we're going to have is your glans penis. Your glans penis is this. It's the outside of that tip of your penis. So glans penis. Then we're going to have your prepuce. The prepuce you can see right here. This structure behind that glans penis. Normally, or when you are born, the prepuce covers over this glans penis, but it gets cut away when you get circumcised. So that's showing up here is the glans penis. And final structure we have is going to be the external urethral orifice. And that's just way down at the tip here. That's going to be the exit where the urine and the sperm leave right before it leaves the body. So external urethral orifice.
Okay, now we will be going over the female reproductive organs. So the first one on your lab manual is called the ovary. The ovary is going to be right here on the model, right here. And of that ovary, you will have a medulla and a cortex. Again, cortex just means outside, so cortex is just going to be this outside region right here. And then medulla you cannot see, but it's on the inside. The next one is going to be the ovarian ligament, and that attaches the ovaries to the uterus. So that is going to be this yellow attaching that ovary to the uterus, right there. The suspensory ligaments connect the back wall of the pelvis to the ovaries, but you cannot see those on this model. So you will have to refer to your textbook and your lab TAs to get better clarification on that. The next one is called the broad ligament, and that is going to be all this ligament within here that attaches everything to all the surrounding walls and tissues. So everything right here. And then the round ligament attaches the uterus to the front wall, and that is going to be this blue colored ligament right here that attaches that uterus to the front wall. Okay, ovarian arteries and veins are just going to be that vascularized structure. So you can see there's arteries and veins coming in right here. Probably a little tough to see, they're really small. Those are just going to go right into that ovary, so right through here into that ovary. Next will be the uterine tubes. The uterine tubes connect your uterus to your ovary, and that's going to be this pink structure that goes all the way out to that ovary. These are also known as the fallopian tubes. The first structure of that uterine tube you have to know is called the fimbriae. The fimbriae are going to be those finger-like structures that basically wrap around that ovary, so when an egg gets shed off, those fimbriae catch it. Okay, so now we'll be to the uterus. For the uterus, I'll just set this down so kind of how it looks. So it'll be like this, only it'd be flat. And the uterus will have two basic structures you have to know. The first one is called the fundus, and that's just going to be the top. So remember, it's fun to be on top. And then the body is just going to be the rest of the uterus right here. Next, we'll have to open this up to look at the next structures. So let me get it taken apart. So here we can orient ourselves. This is going to be the uterus right here. And from that uterus, the next structure you have to know is called the cervix. And that is going to be this rigid structure right here. So that's cervix. And then the cervical os is just going to be the entrance to that cervix, so right at the tip of that cervix. Some other structures of the uterus you have to know are endometrium. The endometrium is going to be the most inner portion right here, and that's going to get sloughed off every month as a woman goes through their cycle. The myometrium is going to be the muscle, and then the perimetrium is going to be on the outside. The next structure you have to know is called the vagina. And no, the vagina is not on the outside of the body, it's on the inside. The vagina is going to be right here, so it's this canal that leads to that cervix from the outside. The vaginal fornices, you'll have two main ones. A posterior vaginal fornice, so that's this larger one right here. And then an anterior vaginal fornice, and that's the one right there, the smaller one. The vaginal orifice is going to be where the vagina comes from the outside to the inside. So from here, continuing down, if we pull this, so these two go together like this, this is going to be your vaginal orifice right here. And then the hymen, we'll have to pull this apart right here. Again, we can see that vaginal orifice coming in right here. The hymen is going to be this structure right here that covers that vaginal orifice. That hymen will either get ruptured early in life, or if it doesn't, it'll get ruptured through the first time of sexual intercourse. Next structure will be the vestibule, and vestibule just means it's a space. And that vestibule right here, this is what we're talking about, and you can see that that is going to stop the urine, this is urethra, from flowing back into that vagina, or that vaginal orifice. So this is the vestibule. On this model, the vestibular glands and bulbs you cannot see, but they're going to be underneath here. And the next term is going to be the bulbospongiosis muscle. So we'll have to flip this over. And that bulbospongiosis muscle is going to be right here on the back side. And that's just going to cover that vestibular bulb and vestibular gland. To kind of orient you, here is the obturator foramen, right here. Here is the ischium. So, and this one's not on your lab manual, but the ischiocavernosus muscle is going to connect that ischium right here to the cavernosum up here in the front. So ischiocavernosus muscle. Next is going to be glans clitoris and the prepuce. So on here, way up here in the front is going to be the prepuce right there, that darkened spot. And the glans clitoris is going to sit underneath that. Next we have the urethra and the external urethral orifice. So on this model, the urethra is going to be right here. And then the external urethral orifice is going to be right there at the end of it. And if we go back to this model, put them back together, if I can get the right one, this one, that urethra continues up right there. The next ones are going to be the labia majora and minora. And those are just going to be folds on the outside. So the labia majora is going to be the most external one, and it's going to be the bigger one. And then the labia minora is going to be medial, and it's going to be smaller right there. And then next, the mons pubis is just going to be that fat pad that sits on the front of the pelvic region. So that's just going to sit right on the front of this right here.